Well, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie, and I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. Check out our bar stools. Oh my gosh, these are so cool. Look at that. My favorite part of our store. Today, we're going to show you a Pokemon collection. If you guys know this channel, if you've been here before, I often buy large Magic the Gathering collections from online. People like you who want to sell their collections, reach out to me at KitchenTableTCG@gmail.com. This collection is actually a local Pokemon collection, and while the business has grown tremendously online and we've been able to buy a lot of Magic collections online, locally we are really a huge part of our business is Pokemon and buying collections. Very rarely do I get a collection of this size in all at once. Usually Pokemon people, don't exit the hobby as much, and they're trading in some cards for the new box or for the new product or whatever they want. But this is a scenario where it's a really cool collection to be able to share with you. I just want to put out there, I am buying Pokemon and Magic the Gathering collections. Reach out to me at KitchenTableTCG@gmail.com. I hope you enjoy the collection. Now, this is a very interesting collection because there are a lot of complete sets in this, and then a stack of very good high-end singles. But this guy said he never graded cards. He wasn't interested in grading Pokemon cards. So there's some cards in here that we may need to go through to see, are they worth it for us to grade? That is a whole nother side of the Pokemon industry and the Pokemon hobby, is grading cards, not just selling the loose singles. But let's take a look at the sets. Very interesting to get sets into. We mostly are selling individual cards and that kind of thing. But when sets like this come in, it is kind of nice and easy to move them as complete sets. It just makes more sense. It's less work. If you can, just put them out there as a full set for somebody. So here we have a base set. Look at that. Look at the Charizard. And this stuff is in pretty good condition too. LP, MP, I think across the board, if I remember correctly. Here's the Charizard. It's a good looking Charizard. Some whitening on the edges. But it's there's not a bunch of creases on the card. Sometimes you buy collections like this and it's like the absolute worst condition for the sets. But this is what I would call a very good binder set. Something that looks good in a binder. I'm going to put that up there so there's no glare. It's hard to record in this room sometimes. So you got base set, obviously. Now this is an interesting base set. We're going to have to go through this and take out the shadowless cards. So base set had 3 different versions. This is a shadowless base set. You can see on the right side here, there is no shadow compared to, let's see, there's not a Mewtwo to compare, but we'll compare to the Nidoking. You see how there's a shadow there? The base set shadowless is extremely rare. Now there's also then the first edition that would also have the first edition stamp. There is no first edition that has the shadow other than, and this is confusing for people, the Machamp. This Machamp is really an unlimited, it just has the first edition sticker. So I guess technically it's first edition, but there were 2 printings of the first edition Machamp in the starter decks, first edition shadowless, and then this is the first edition shadowed, which is the only shadowed first edition card out there. So don't get confused by that. If you're ever dealing with vintage Pokemon, it's very important. The prices are significantly different. We'll be able to sell this Mewtwo and easily, I probably have a couple base set Mewtwo's already, but easily recuperate the money to get a regular shadowed Mewtwo. And we'll make this whole set because he kind of has shadowless, there's a Dewdong that's shadowless there built into the regular base set. But man, just iconic. There's a shadowless Bulbasaur, but I think he's got probably a shadowed one right below. That would have been a better example. So yeah, this is, it's cool. It's awesome to see base set. Obviously, it's weird to see something like this, the original set of Pokemon, be so cheap in comparison to, your modern cards. And we'll talk about Destined Rivals down there. We can get to the Destined Rivals set. But you got base set here. And then he's got Jungle. And again, the cards are all, pretty good condition. Let's take the Flareon, for instance. I think one of the best cards in Jungle, one of my favorite cards in Jungle, just an iconic piece of art there. absolute beautiful. It's not like, you know, they're not perfect condition. There's some whitening, but this is a really, really good, lightly played, maybe some cards that might be MP collection here. I hate these sleeves. They're kind of hard to get them back in. But a really good collection. Just brings me back, just totally brings me back to my childhood. I don't know, you let me know in the comment section. Now, this is predominantly a Magic the Gathering channel, but let me know in the comment section if you collect Pokemon, if you do that kind of thing. So you got some first editions on the rares for the non-hollows. That's another thing we'll have to sub out when we go to sell these collections. If we go to sell them as full sets, or who knows, maybe they don't get sold. They just end up in my daughter's names or something. But who knows what actually happens. But when we do go to sell them, that's what we will have to do. Because people typically want their collection to be all the same kind of conditions and the same. This is a nice Dragonite. This is one of my favorite cards of all time. Dragonite's my favorite Pokemon. And this Dragonite is such a cool card. Very, very cool. Yeah, so we'll have to make sure all the sets are exactly the same when we go to sell it. Make sure there's no first edition. Make sure there's no shadows. Now, these sets don't have any shadowless version. That was only the base set. The base set had the shadowless version, but these sets do not, but they do have the first edition. So, all right, now we're getting to Team Rocket, one of the most collected vintage Pokemon sets in the world. I think that is because the supply of that set is huge, and also it's just a smaller set. Man, this is a nice Dark Charizard. Pretty good condition. It doesn't have a swirl, does it? One of the most iconic cards. Team Rocket set is, it's a smaller set. It's 82 cards. It's a smaller set, so it's a lot easier for people to collect. And it's just cheaper. You still have Blastoise and Charizard, but it's just cheaper. It's an easier entry point for people. Now, that one's a little bit more MP, but still, again, a very good binder card. For somebody who wants a full set like this, it would be a very good thing. Dark Dragonite. I'm going to show you guys the Dark Dragonite just because, again, I'm a huge Dragonite fan. Dragonite is just a cool Pokemon. Man, those are good condition cards. Look at that. That is a little chunk on the bottom right, but man, very, very good cards. Great conditioning on this set. And that's rare. A lot of times you buy a collection like this and the conditions are awful. Now, he does not have the Dark Dragonite that is the error card that is in the set, but I would not require that to say it's a full set. Some people may disagree with me. Obviously, if you were selling it, you would show off all the pictures and people would know exactly what they're buying, but I don't require that to have a full set. But this is the secret rare. This is the first secret rare. The secret rares in Pokemon have numbers greater than the set number, so this is 83 out of 82. It's the first time they did that. So this is the original kind of vintage cards. Very, very cool to see that. And then he had started, I'm not sure if he finished, Neo Genesis, and the Neo sets, and then Gym Heroes, and all that stuff. So I think what's next? Is this next? This must be next. I can't remember the release schedule. So a Neo Genesis, you've got the Lugia. All right, so now this is one of the things he did. He often took PSA cards, and I do this with my own collection too. If I'm working on a set, for vintage cards like this, sometimes it's cheaper to buy a PSA 7 or sometimes even maybe a PSA 8 than it is to buy a near mint card. And on TCG Player, when you order a near mint card, you just never know what you're going to get. So this guy has purchased a PSA 7 and he cracked it out of the slab, and now you have the near mint with a swirl. Very, very cool Lugia. Very, very pretty. Again, just an iconic card for Pokemon. Neo Genesis, we'll go through this one a little quicker, just because it's not that much important to me. Neo Genesis, I don't know. I still collected back then, but I really, really did not get into. I was kind of out of Pokemon by this point. I collected all of the first 3 or 4 sets, and then I got into baseball and that kind of stuff. But now, as an adult, I've come back and I have collected all this, and the art is cool. It does remind me of, it reminds me of my cousins who collected this a lot. That Lugia, I don't know. I just think of my cousin my cousin Joey every time I see that card. Now this is a cool page. This is Neo, what is this, Discovery, I believe. And it's got the Umbreon, which this card has gone, he told me he paid like $50 for this card. This card has gone insane. Now he had this in a PSA 4, but the front of that card is just absolutely gorgeous. Again, a very good binder card. These cards have gone absolutely nuclear in price. You can see just a little bit of a crease in the back. It's a hard card to find in good condition, but still great binder card. And that's what a lot of people do. So I'd suggest that if you're working on a set like this, pick up the PSA 5, 6, 7s before you buy a near mint, just because then you know exactly what you're getting, and often you'll pay less. Here's the Espeon. Pretty good condition there on the Espeon, to be honest. But yeah, very, very fun to see all these old cards at once. Tyranitar. Now, the Umbreon there, the non-foil is still really cool. I think on this one, I've seen a couple of first edition too. Yeah, there's the Igglybuff is first edition. So we'll have to clean that up before we end up selling it. I will end up selling these as full sets. It's just not worth the time to break them down. And, you know, we'll have to finish, like, this is Neo, I guess this is Discovery. I can never remember all the Neo sets. So we'll have to buy a couple of the hollows and that kind of thing. But lots of cool cards in here. Lugia is in here, Raichu. Now, I also just, this has the Shiny Gyarados. So the Shiny Magikarp in this is really, really good condition. Look at that thing. Just pretty minty. A little bit of whitening, but very, very good condition. Again, hard cards to find in very good condition. But I think the Gyarados was pretty beat up, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the Gyarados pretty beat up. Binder ding. Again, not a terrible, I mean, it's a pretty bad binder card even. It looks okay though from a binder, but definitely a card that I would want to clean up. If we're going to sell this as a full set, we would clean up a card like this. We would put a new one in there, not clean it up like doctor the card, but put up a new Shining Gyarados in here that's MP or LP, and then we'll just sell that one online is what we'd end up doing. So that's the Neo sets, and then you've got, this is, hopefully you're enjoying this, looking back at these old cards. This is Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge. Now these sets I do really like. Again, I don't remember which came out first. I feel like these came out after, but for some reason I was back involved when these came out. Man, Sabrina's Gengar, look at that card. Just an iconic Pokemon card. Really, really, no scratching on that hollow. Look at that hollow, that looks pretty good. On the back though, it's got a little bit of whitening. A little bit of whitening on the back. Still great condition for putting in a binder. Really, really cool card. Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge, bringing back, or the start of the trainer-owned Pokemon that we are now seeing. That Rocket Snorlax is a really iconic card. The start of the trainer-owned Pokemon that we are now seeing in the current era of modern Pokemon. It's just cool to go back to the start, kind of like the Team Rocket was, right? Like back to the start. And we'll talk about that when we get to the Destined Rivals, that this guy, this Blaine's Charizard is in such good condition. This one might come out to get graded. And that's one of the things I'll have to do is on some of these cards, figure out what needs to get graded and what won't. Pretty dang good condition on the Blaine's Charizard. An incredibly, incredibly good card. Iconic, absolutely iconic. Erica's Venusaur, Giovanni's Gyarados, Giovanni's Persian. I mean, just Rocket's Mewtwo. I could show you guys every single one of these cards, and people are like, why didn't you show Misty's Gyarados? Why didn't you show, people just, there's somebody's favorite card in this set for sure. And these are in such good condition. Look at that Rocket's Mewtwo. A little bit of whitening there, but still just very, very good condition for old cards like this. Iconic set, Sabrina's Gengar. Really, really, just every single time you flip the page, there's a beautiful piece of artwork with an iconic Pokemon that people love. So very, very cool stuff here with the Gym Heroes and Gym Challenge. All right, let's move on. All the trainers, blah, blah, blah. Let's move on to some more new stuff. Now, I guess a couple of little vintage things here. You've got, this is one of the Neo sets, Neo, I don't know, Revolution. I can never remember these set symbols. This one's not finished. So I'll have to decide, am I going to go through and finish up these sets or just take them apart and sell the singles, which I'm not sure what we'll do. And then you got some of the promos, which, you know, definitely have some wear and tear on them. But the promos are a cool set too. The movie promos in particular were some of my favorite promos of all time. He does not have the Ancient Mew, but he does have the first movie promos, which are just so cool. Absolutely so cool. All right, and here we have the Southern Islands collection, which is just really cool to see. This was, if I remember correctly, some sort of a promotional thing that they did. I haven't seen one of these binders in a very long time. They also sent out like envelope things, but it was a really cool promotional thing, earning trainer badges. And this is a full set. Now the Mew is by far the best card in this set. This is one of my favorite cards in all of Pokemon too. Mew is my daughter's favorite Pokemon, so it's really fun to collect really cool Mew cards. Now this one's pretty beat up. This is the worst condition of all the cards that are in this binder, which is unfortunate because, man, a nice grade of a Mew there would be really, really fun to accomplish and get. But really, really cool. Some of the best art, I think, in all of Pokemon is in this set. Just a really, really cool set. Look at that Slowking. It's really cool. The Wartortle. Just some of the coolest artwork in all of Pokemon in this set. Very easy set to collect, very small, just like 24 cards or something like that. But kind of cool to have the binder to go with it. I actually don't have this binder, so I think I'll probably hold on to that one for my vintage collection. Now, speaking of my vintage collection, so I have been collecting vintage Pokemon for the last couple of years, and these are the sets that I don't have from Wizards of the Coast. Now, this is Aquapolis and Expedition and the e-reader series, and he had started a binder full of e-reader cards, and obviously this is an extremely expensive set to collect, and he never finished it. So very, very cool for the e-readers. These are probably, again, something I will hold on to, just because it's a good start to me working on these sets. Even some of the non-hollows have a ton of value, like the Blastoise here. Even some of the non-hollows, just a ton of value, obviously depending on condition and that kind of thing. And he has a pretty good start here. Here's the Dragonite. You can't see, it's off the camera, but the Dragonite. Now these all had like a reverse hollow, and then some of them had a hollow that are really, really expensive in the Aquapolis and all that stuff. I can't pronounce that name of that set. But again, some of the best art in all of Pokemon here. Just very, very cool. The Ivysaur's cool. The Kadabra holding the spoon. This binder is massive. It makes it very hard to do a video for you. But very, very cool. That Charmeleon, I don't know if you can see it. That Charmeleon, very, very cool artwork. Very massive binder, very difficult here. Wartortle, just some of the coolest art. But doing a full set of this is incredibly difficult. Here's the Sun Bulbasaur, because there's a reverse hollow to all of these as well as the non-hollow, which makes it much more difficult than the other sets. This was when Wizards of the Coast. So here you can see the reverse hollow Rattata compared to the regular Rattata. Wizards of the Coast was trying to mix up things. This is actually the timeline of which Wizards of the Coast lost the license for Pokemon way back when. So it's hard to go through this binder. We're not going to go through it much because it's mostly empty anyway. But very, very cool to see that kind of thing. And for me, it's just a good jump start to collecting these sets. And that makes it easy. You know, you don't have to wait for things on. I hate the binder though. The binder's too big. Binder's too big. All right, let's get into the other stuff here. This is now more modern. Now, it was very interesting to see somebody who collected a ton of vintage Pokemon. It makes sense, right? That these two sets would be the sets that they, come back to and start collecting. The 151 Scarlet and Violet, this is a complete 151 binder. Even the binder is expensive. I think these binders are going for like $40 now. A complete 151. Now you can use the term master set in that it has the non-hollow, reverse hollow of each card. That would be a master set. Now, this is not quite a what they call Grandmaster set. The Grandmaster set having all of the promos that were ever released. This is what I would call a master set plus promos. Now, he might be missing the Onyx. I'll have to go through this and make sure it's not missing some cards. Every now and then, people think that their collection is complete, and maybe they just forgot about a couple of the cards and that kind of thing. That's just one of those cost of businesses. And here we have the illustration rare. So this set is predominantly expensive because of these cards, but all this stuff does add up. It does add up over time. The reverse holos can get kind of a pricey, specifically in some of the harder Pokemon. Bulbasaur, Ivy, Charmander, Charmeleon, Squirtle, Wartortle. You can see that somebody who cares about vintage Magic or vintage Pokemon would definitely care about this set. It's just got all of the really cool artwork and all the really cool cards for the set. Let's take a look at the Charizard, see if this is gradable. This is one of those things that you do as a card store. You would look at this to see, is this gonna, the centering is pretty good. Does this have a potential for a 10? You know what? I mean, the corners are pretty good, and we'll take a look at the bottom corner later when I can do it without things. So those are the type of things you might replace that with like a PSA 9 grade, that kind of thing. But all of the promos, it does not have the Pokemon Center promo, which is hard because that's really expensive. But it does have a lot of the other promos and the other things. I would just call this a master set, probably, and then I would probably sell off the promos individually is what I would end up doing if I don't just make this another Grandmaster set as cards come in. It does have the GameStop promo for the Charmander, which is pretty hard to get these days. But yeah, that is the 151. Now, in my opinion, 151, this is going to come across as biased, but here's my opinion on 151. 151 is the safest bet for anybody who is investing or collecting Pokemon. I just don't see any way that these cards in 5 years, once this is totally out of print and we stop getting restocks on things and, the big boxes stop putting out new product on this, I don't see any way in 5 years that this is not significantly higher in value than it is today. It's just such an iconic set. It's just like, it's so good. It's just so good. It's almost perfect. It's almost the perfect Pokemon set, in my opinion. So 151, something that I am a huge fan of. Now, let's go into the best part for me in this collection is this Destined Rivals full set. I have been waiting for somebody to trade in a Destined Rivals set because I love collecting master sets, but I don't like doing all the work to get it. And so when somebody trades in a full Destined Rivals set with a really cool binder, it just makes me happy. This will be, I believe, a Grand Master set. I believe he told me he had just about every single promo, every single card released for Destined Rivals so far. Really, really cool to see. This will end up being in my collection as I have been waiting for it to get traded in so that I could have one, because this set is incredible. It's a really, really cool set. Nobody cares about these cards. It's a really, really cool set, and it's just really, 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 really fun to see the art and to collect. And man, of all the sets of the Scarlet and Violet era, this one seemed to have the most hype that followed through. Boxes sitting at $500 a box. Just some incredibly cool cards. Team Rocket's Houndoom. This is the type of thing where, I used to feel like there was no point in investing in modern Pokemon. But when modern Pokemon brings in people and nostalgia and just an incredible amount, you got Misty's Psyduck, Misty's Lapras. My daughters love this card. When it brings in an incredible amount of nostalgia, I think, I think I was just wrong about that opinion on modern Pokemon. And the market tends to agree in terms of that. Here's your Team Rocket's Mewtwo. This card is on an absolute tear these days. Again, well-centered. I'm not going to pull it out right now. We'll see if it's grade-worthy. I think a PSA 10 in that right now is sitting at like $1,800. It's kind of nice that he'd said, he doesn't grade cards. It's kind of a nice thing to hear when you're buying cards, because there is ways to increase your profit and increase the way that you collect by grading cards. Some people hate grading cards. Other people love it. I'm a big fan of grading cards. I just think it's a fun side of the hobby. This is missing the gold Mewtwo, but he did tell me that. Ethan's Adventure, another big card. I really like this Mabo Stiff. I don't really know how to pronounce the Pokemon. I just think it's a cool artwork. Very, very cool set here. Again, I'm stoked about this because I was going to eventually work on this. It's got all the pre-release promos, the Pokemon Center, Tyranitar, the pre-release promos. It might be missing something there, but it's got just about everything. Those are the pre-release promos. Very, very cool. You can see, this is where all the reverse holos were. I was wondering about that. You can see just somebody who very much enjoyed collecting this set, and it's cool to have that, and I'm stoked about it because I think that this is, I'm not going to say it's Evolving Skies level, because I don't think it's quite there, but from a nostalgia standpoint, the Destined Rivals set, very, very cool. That is, I always try to keep one thing from a collection. This will be the one thing I keep from this collection, other than maybe the Southern Islands as well. I might have a problem. All right, here we go. These are the singles. Now, this is really cool stuff. Again, on a lot of this stuff, there might be a premium if it's gradable. Hopefully some of it is. Hopefully some of it's not. And then you can just get cards for people, locally and online for what they want, and that's fun too. So here comes Team Rocket promo. This is something that went really crazy with the Destined Rivals release. Really cool card. I think this is the only graded card he had. I'm not really sure why he had one graded card and no others. Some EX era stuff. Very, very cool era. Very, very good looking cards here. You got the Jolteon, the Zapdos that's in a beat up condition. A lot of this era of cards just very beat up. Not a ton of people back then still collecting. The value of a lot of stuff was dirt cheap. People just didn't know how rare these cards were. This one is actually a Nintendo promo. And a lot of people didn't collect cards and didn't know how rare these cards were. These are incredibly low produced sets compared to your kind of hype of base set and the first 10 sets of Pokemon. These sets that were not produced by Wizards of the Coast, the demand was far, far lower back then. Here's your Kyogre and Groudon. Oh, this is both halves? Oh, that's cool. This actually might be cool because I think one of the next sets is Kyogre and Groudon. That's kind of cool. I actually didn't know that was a full. I didn't even put that together when I was going through this. Aerodactyl, EX. Some of these, if they grade well, even in like an 8 or a 9, have a huge, increase in value, even if it's not, a 10. Altaria, Metagross, Mr. Mime gets a lot of hate. Blastoise EX, just a really, really cool card. Now, these cards don't do it for me quite as much. I didn't collect back then, obviously, but some of the artwork is really cool. And I really, when I find, a Dragonite or a Mew or Mewtwo in those sets, I'm always like, man, that's really cool. Now, I love these Dittos. This is the Ditto that is obviously Squirtle, the Ditto that is Charmander, the Ditto that is Pikachu. These are really, really cool, Mr. Mime. Here's a Snorlax Delta Species Reverse Holo. Now, I have a PSA 1 Delta Species Reverse Holo collection. Anytime these cards are traded in and they are damaged, I tried to damage them enough to get PSA 1s. Obviously, that one won't be the case. That's a really good condition Snorlax there. But I always love, I don't know, these cards usually when they come in, they're bent in half because people just didn't take care of them. And it's fun to try to get PSA 1 grades on those Delta Species Reverse Holos. It's a little mini collection I have in my personal collection. Mega Lucario, Mega Manectric, Mega Blastoise, all these Mega cards doing pretty well right now with the new Mega set. Mega Rayquaza, Mega Venusaur. I actually have some cool uncuts of the Mega Venusaur and Mega Blastoise. Those are pretty good condition though. Mega Gengar. And then we have the Team Up sets. Now Team Up is one of those things where Team Up over the last couple of years has just gotten ridiculous in value. And again, if some of these grade PSA 10, there's a crazy amount of interest. This is an interesting one because I've wanted a PSA 10 of the stained glass birds for a while. It looks a little off center. It might not do it. Umbreon, Darkrai, Pikachu, Zekrom, Charizard and Braxton, sorry. Muck and Alolan Muck. Very, very cool cards. Again, people just love the team up cards. And eventually, they will do another team up set, and that will just cause these to have a whole nother bump in value. But all right, finishing up some old trainers. The Skyla is very popular. Very cool trainers. And the Team Rockets Returns EXs, the Articuno, very, very cool card. The Moltres, the Scyther, the Hitmonchan, Persian, and a Raikou. Very, very cool cards. Very, very cool collection. These cards particularly, just, you never see them. They never, ever show up. They are incredibly, incredibly rare. Very much more rare than the older stuff that was higher produced. So it's always interesting when those come in, because the artwork, it doesn't feel the same, but it's just different. It's so different. There's nothing like this card. There's nothing like the artwork and the style of these Team Rocket Returns cards. So yeah. So there you have it. A Pokemon collection we purchased. I think the value of that collection, I think it was somewhere around like $16,000 or something like that. It's a pretty expensive collection. Whenever we get cool collections like that in, I'll try to do a video. We'll see how this one does. If you're here from the Pokemon community, hit the like, hit subscribe, join us. We have a lot of fun on this channel. And if you're here from Magic, I challenge you to learn something. It's, you know, if those of you who are slinging singles and selling cards online, there's a whole nother world out there outside of Magic that has a huge amount of demand, huge amount of value. Very, very cool to be able to pick up collections and do that. I encourage you to do it on your own too. So if there's any cards you were looking for from there, feel free, reach out to me, especially those of you who are local. We'll have them for you. And remember to be kind to the people around you. We'll see you again next video.